So here we have a splice. It's electrical splice that should be in a junction box. I actually found this in front of it and these were shoved behind it. So whoever did this was a complete jackass and was just lazy and didn't do the job correctly. So there is no ground. That would be ideal, but some of these older homes, they don't have a ground connected in there. So if I wanted to do that, I would have to run an entire new ground wire. This is really unsafe. It would be much better to actually be in this junction box, and so that's what I'm going to do now. So I've already turned off the electricity, and I checked the what's it called? I checked this plug before taking this off, and saw that there were no volts, or actually what I was reading was this. So I have this turned to the volts, so you can see there with the little squiggly line, that's the volts. And whenever I touch it to these two screws, those normally read a very high voltage, but right now they don't make any difference between this. So now I am going to come over here, and as I'm taking these off, I'm still being very careful because it's always possible they're on different circuits. So this isn't touching anything, and this one over here, it's kind of close, but I already know it's not going to touch. So I take these off, and then whenever I put the two things to it, it doesn't read anything, so I'm safe to do my work. And so I'll attempt to do this with one hand, but as you can see here, I just got one of these. It's got a pretty flat head. These things are awesome. They're insulated, so if anything did happen, I'm not really touching the wires. So you just untwist. And so what's going to be happening here is I'll be putting this junction box in like so. And whenever I put it in there, then you can see it's right next to a 2x4. And so I'll be using these side things to either screw or nail in. I'll do something there. And then this is where the front plate attaches to. So this provides the stability, and this covers it up, makes it look nice. But yeah, the main wires that's coming from up top, and then the other wires, and then I'll just splice them in between here. Okay, so I've got them undone here, and you can see obviously this one's going to go on the bottom, and then this one will go on top. So I've decided to screw it in with the star-headed screws. I did some 1 5/8 inches. I feel like that's plenty. And I use the star head screws because those are the easiest to work with. Whenever you use Phillips or flathead, the inside, it often gets stripped. So the star head is the way to go. And also, I thought about hammering just some nails in, but then whenever I thought about the possibility of having to take this out if it doesn't work, trying to pull nails out of this would have been quite difficult. So screws was the way to go. So now I can see why they did what they did, because with this one out of the way, you can see this one on the bottom, it just barely fits in there. It's going to make it pretty hard to attach or to twist with these. I'm going to give it a try just because the alternative is a little bit more work. Really, this junction box should have been put about 4 inches lower because you can see there's plenty of room here. So I don't know what they were thinking whenever they cut the hole right here. It should be down here. But anyways, yeah, if I can't make this work, then I'm just gonna use the Dremel or something, the multi-tool, to cut down further, and then probably just get another one of these and just have two back to back. Some way of covering it up. But yeah, let's see how it goes. Alright, so I've got these here. I had to push this one way up in there so that these could actually kind of line up. And so I'm taking these, bring them together. There we go. And right about there, I'll be able to start winding. But you want to get them kind of even. Right now this one's a little too long. There we go. Pretty even right there. And the main reason you want to have them even is if one is too long, then the other one will be kind of showing out the out the bottom side of this thing. So you don't want the long one to be pushing too far out. Okay, and that's all part of it. Just kind of didn't work. There we go. Now that's good. Just give it a little extra something. You don't go too much or else you'll break them off. Okay, and that one's good. And if you want it to be extra safe, you can also wrap some electrical tape around that as well. Just in case any of that shorter one gets exposed there. Okay, and now the next one. It's no wonder they just pushed it in here and said screw it, because if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And who knows, maybe they were just about to sell the place. I don't know. Kind of seems reckless to try to sell a place with such dangerous, precarious wiring, but who knows? There's a bunch of ghetto stuff in this house. So whoever lived here was smart. You know, they were creative. They definitely weren't by the code. And some of this shit gives me worry, cause for concern. Yeah, this one's tough. So I could just I could cut this and make it shorter and it would line up better. I would rather just shorten. I think I'll just cram it. There. Yeah, cram it a little bit more because that way it'll coil up in there. I'd rather have some extra for later. There we go. Yeah, these wires, they're so stiff, really hard to work with. And I'm obviously pretty amateur. I'm just good enough to be able to do it myself. Just barely. But a pretty simple job like this, I'd rather do it myself than pay an electrician to come do it for 250 bucks. Yeah, I mean, I struggled for a sec, but it's done. As I was doing that, I noticed that this right here seems to starting to kind of come unraveled. So that part right there, I don't know if you can see that. There's a part right here that's like starting to show. So I'm definitely going to wrap that up. Give it just a little wrap, and then I'll put this over it, and I'll even wrap it again just to be careful. But yeah, that's pretty much it, and it's solid enough to where I'll be able to attach this guy. Oh, this guy as well. Yeah. And that's good enough. I'll make it pretty here in a sec.